Hello, this is SMCrotty here with ProGamingTours.net, bringing you Karma, the new revised edition. So Karma can be played as either a support champion, usually in the bottom lane, or an AP carry. Riot really pushes hard to be more towards a support champion. Right away, you're going to see that the essential items recommended include Philosopher's Stone and the Sight Stone. And then defensive support items, Aegis of the Legion, Locket, Shirelius. So, I believe she should be played more as an AP carry champion because she's more of a hybrid champion. She does a little too much damage to be a support champion, and she benefits a lot with items accordingly. So as an AP champion, just a standard boot 3 health potions build. I just want to show you what Karma looks like, what her abilities feel like, and just to give you a hang for her. So for start, I always take her W, her Focused Resolve. So for Karma abilities, the Focused Resolve, the old Spirit Bond. Spirit Bond used to be when I target the enemy and then they get slowed down and need to move faster, or I target an ally and they would move faster, need to move faster, and anything in between, that bond just took damage. The new Spirit Bond, the Focused Resolve, does damage over time. It's not channeled. You don't have to be constantly only doing that skill. You can do other things while it's being on. So, but you just use that, just damage over time, and after 2 seconds, it will root them in place for 1. That's if they're still in range. So, when you use your mantra, your ultimate, still given to you at level 1, but we'll talk about that. What it does, instead of just doing damage over the time to the enemy, as you'll see, but it heals you over time. Quite useful. First thing you notice about Karma is that there are no fans. No matter what scan you look at, there are no scans. There aren't fans. We have Nasus in the middle, not just a random bot game, not anything particular. Just kind of trying to show you the emotions. So as I see, I will use my Focused Resolve, and I will just do damage over time to him, and he got rooted in place there. It's really tanky. So one other thing you should notice about Karma is that she does not have 6 points for her Q, W, and E. What she does now is that she has 5 points in each, but her mantra gets 4 points. The only thing that the mantra does not happen is that with mantra you do not get lower cooldown per higher points you put into it. No, I'm sorry, it is still a tremendously 40-45 second cooldown, which is horrific considering a mantra and there's only 1 charge, not like 2 like you used to have. But her passive makes up for this, being every time you auto attack, you get 0.5 seconds off your cooldown on mantra every single time, no matter what it is. And if you use a spell, it's 1 second, which is quite useful. Let's show her Q now. Her Q was not a wave of fans like it used to be. Now it's just a ball that goes. I totally missed that. But it just goes. It does a little AoE damage, but it's just a basic damage spell. It does slow the enemies that it hits. And if I use my mantra with it though, it will not only do damage upon hit, but after 1.4 seconds, you'll see the ground like a circle, like an earthquake type thing, and then it will just erupt, doing extra damage and slowing the enemy even further. Now her E is a shield, which is pretty similar to the old shield, except difference is, as you see my movement speed, when I shield myself, I get extra movement speed. When you use mantra on this though, it does the same thing as the old shield, which it does do the AoE damage to everyone around her. So I use my mantra and I use my shield, and it does do AoE damage, but there's a little added bonus effect to her abilities, as I will show you. Let's head up to the top lane. Is what the shield does. You can also shield allies, not just by clicking on them and, I'm going to shield Annie, but when you use your mantra with your shield, wherever you cast it, all the nearby champions get shielded as well. Let's use a couple of skills. Let's get the recharge on this. Let's just get that. The mantra up. See, my team looks like they're in danger. I'm gonna use mantra on myself, and I'm gonna shield. And it gave the shield and the movement speed to all two of them.
Never again.
Both of them. Huh. A few skills. Well, those are her basic abilities in this game. When you increase the mantra level, it does not, as I said, it does not give you lesser cooldown on the ability. What it does is just improves the effects that you have. So let's go back to base. I find 3 items really essential, well, besides boots, on Karma if you're playing as an AP carry in the middle. The first item, which I think you should always go for, is, of course, the Death Cap. The Death Cap, the earlier you get it, the better. It is an amazing amount of ability power. You really need that ability power advantage. Looking at her abilities, she does some nice utility. She really is a hybrid champion. She doesn't have some of the oomph that some champions, for example, that Annie or Vigar would have, or any other AP champion, because she is really half AP, half support. So I recommend right away getting the Rabadon's Death Cap. You could also do a slight interchange with that. If you find out that you really are having trouble surviving, you could of course go for Zhonya's. You know, Zhonya's is never a bad option on an AP carry. But that's item number 1. Item number 2 I would recommend is Leandra's Torment. Leandra's Torment is very, very useful, not only because Karma tends to spam her abilities a little bit, but for example, if I want to use my Inspire, my shield, all that AoE damage that any other minions or players took, not only does shield allies, but that would do damage over time to all enemies around you. You know, you max your level 5 and you gain a lot of ability power, and people get a lot of health. It really does stack up well. So we have the Death Cap with Leandra's Torment, and for our final item, I would recommend the Rod of Ages. Yes, the Rod of Ages, it is not necessarily as common as some other items, but remember that Karma is not really bursty champion. She really has to do a little sustain in her. She is more utility. So I recommend the Rod of Ages. That 650 health, that 650 mana is quite useful for her in a game, especially if you can get all the maximum 10 stacks. So the earlier the better, but remember Rabadon's Death Cap is a lot more important. So those are the main essential items I would get. As for boots, you can either get Magic Penetration with the Sorcerer's Shoes or Lucidity for the cooldown. They are both very, very extremely helpful. Karma, the more cooldown you have, the better. So as for the enchants, it really anything goes. You can have a Clarity, which would give you that extra movement speed, because as you notice, she is extremely slow. So, or you can go for the Distortion for the flash cooldown. It's up to you. She really is a flexible champion. Some other great items which work well with her, for example, would be Rely Scepter. That extra slow for her already and kind of medium utility, medium CC. That really would do an extra bit of slow that would help her out. But sometimes in a real match, other items would do a lot better. Like if I had a choice between a Relies or a Death Cap or a Zhonya's, there's just no question in my mind. Another good item to get, which is an iffy, but is Athene's Unholy Grail. The 20% cooldown is very useful, more than just the mana. The mana, if you need the mana, I'd prefer to get Rod of Ages and get the flat mana. But if you really find yourself lacking mana, Athene's is a good option. Not only does it give you incredible amount of mana, but that cooldown reduction, any cooldown that you get for your ulti would be very, very helpful. Well, that is Karma, but last but not least, we will show you her emotes. You cannot go through any single new champion without showing you her emotes.
You know what they say. Karma always catches up to you. I know your spirit, but I must stop your heart.
In 5 points to you if you could tell me who dances just like this new Karma. Answer is Shen. Yes, it is very, very similar to Shen's dance, the Tai Chi, but Very good. Well, well, this has been SMCrotty with ProgrammingTours.net. Thank you for tuning in and hope you will join us next time.